Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I saw this picture today and I thought this was neat. I've never seen this before. They're saying this is the reason Iraq was invaded. That's not really the point I'm trying to make. I don't know what all the reasons were. But what I do know is when they say it's not about the money or the oil, usually it's about the money, and in this case, the gold. I'm assuming that that's gold that was they got out of Iraq. I don't know if they got it or they used it to pay the costs of the war. I don't know what was done with all that, but but the point that I wanted to make does not have to do with what their intentions were. The point I wanted to make is this. If these central bankers and all, they tell you that gold is not about gold, even if the Bitcoin people, they tell you Bitcoin, drop gold, that is bull and it's baloney. And I do think that there's going to be some cryptos that solve the transportability problem of gold, XRP. But I don't believe, and when I say that, I mean there will be stable coins that are built on the XRP ledger that are backed by gold and various other things that they could be backed by, like oil. But not XRP itself. But anyway, so this right here is Glint, my sponsor, and I say it all the time. I own physical gold. I also own gold in my Glint account because Glint's got a really cool product, which is they give you a debit MasterCard and you're able to spend your gold. And so it kind of opens up a different set of options that have never been there before till Glint came along. So they're my sponsor. Link's in the top of the description if you want to go check it out. I like this tweet. The Ripple versus SEC legal battle will soon be over. True story. First, XRP shall be governed. True story. XRP is going to get governance one way or another. And in my opinion, this was all about the government trying to get governance over the XRP escrow. 2, XRP will be relisted on all regulated exchanges. I do think it'll be relisted in some form or fashion. I don't know if it'll be the crypto exchanges or if it'll be handed over to exchanges where it's accredited investors only. I don't know. 3, banks and major businesses will begin utilizing XRP. I do believe that. 4, I think that once the banks and businesses finally have clarity on what it is and how it is from the lawsuit, I think that they will make their decisions to use or not to use. 4, Ripple will become publicly traded and begin trading on the stock market. I believe that's going to happen. Ripple is going to go IPO. Now, yesterday I put out this video, and it was from this guy here, Lewis Cohen, and he's the guy that filed the motion to appear in the SEC versus Ripple case. And he was, John Deaton grabbed it, and he's telling you the reason that this guy came in and what he came up with. He coined appropriately so the SEC's theory in the Ripple case as the embodiment theory. When I filed the writ of mandamus followed by a motion to intervene, it forced the SEC to admit that it couldn't argue the XRP token itself was a security per se. The SEC then stated it wasn't arguing the token itself as a security, but instead the XRP traded even in the secondary market is the embodiment of those facts, circumstances, promises, and expectations, and today represents that investment contract. I call it the SEC's legal gibberish theory, but I concede Lewis' embodiment theory is more appropriate for legal analysis. As Lewis points out in the video and in his extensive article, the SEC offers no precedent or support for its novel embodiment theory. They offer no support because none exists. It's all made up theory to try and get around the fact that they really are claiming all XRP, including XRP traded in the secondary market, are securities. So they're trying to act like they're not saying that, but they really are saying that. And that's why John Deaton showed up, and that's why all these other guys are showing up, because they realize the danger of letting that go. Okay, check this out. eGreg Crypto XRP, the story of MAs. He says it must close weekly above 20 MA and all these other things. And then he says, or you know what XRP will slingshot without any alert. This is XRP. Apparently he is seeing something really bullish because he says XRP breakout is coming. And he's showing these. And I don't know what you call those, but I hope that he's right. I hope the chart guys end up being right on some of this stuff because a lot of them are talking like that recently. Hey, this is that tweet that I did to Coinbase a few days ago where I was saying, look, this is the schedule of the flare drop. You haven't given us the flare you said you were going to give us, okay? And the drops that are based on the flare that we receive from this thing are going to start on March 17th. And so those are some of the damages that will begin to accumulate. And if you don't believe that Coinbase did say it, they said, good news, if you hold XRP in your Coinbase account on December 12th, 2020, you'll qualify to receive Spark Flare tokens as a part of the Flare network launch. The amount of Spark you'll receive depends on how much XRP you have in your account. So they did say it. Well, Fred Rispoli says Coinbase getting served soon. So that Coinbase is well aware that they're about to be sued over this. All right. Now, John Deaton tweeted this out. This is a guy named Brian Costello. Okay, Brian Costello is basically tweeting about this company Sequoia. And he's basically saying they're like a conduit to the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, and what he's saying is that the SEC is covering for these guys and keeping people away from looking into what's going on. And John Deaton had retweeted, he said, very important issue, and I believe this could be the end of Gary Gensler if it's properly investigated. Sequoia was also top investor in FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and had $200 million in Sequoia's funds. Ask yourself, why do these folks have so much access to Gary Gensler? All right. Now, this guy, I mean, there's a total, there's a traffic jam of all kinds of shady things coming out of this SEC, folks. Remember this? Remember when SEC Chairman Gensler scrubbed evidence of Clinton, Soros, and Pelosi meetings, and somebody filed a Freedom of Information Act to find it, and he had taken them off his public calendar? Well, Soros, look who he's meeting with, okay? This is who he's meeting with. And because, look, folks, this guy is obviously not looking out for the best interest of American investors or Americans. Look at the guy that he's having meetings with while he doesn't even acknowledge 75,000 plus XRP holders.
When we went with him to Ukraine, he was treated like a visiting head of state.
Ukraine
was received by the president. Then he was received by the prime minister and finally the central bank.
20% in cash.
They even allowed him to look at the books and asked him for advice.
I don't feel guilty because I'm engaged in an amoral activity which is not meant to have anything to do with guilt.
Part of the reason he is so rich is that the Soros hedge funds operate offshore in the Netherlands Antilles to avoid scrutiny by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So even while Soros tells Congress and the Treasury that hedge funds must be regulated to stop the global crisis, he's avoiding the rules.
Why is it that Americans can't invest in the quantum fund? It's an offshore fund. Why is that?
Because the fund is not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We are not
licensed to do business in the United States.
That's right.
Because?
Because we are not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Because we find it more convenient to operate without it.
So in some ways it's to escape regulation.
Yeah, that's right.
But you've been sitting here talking about the need for regulation.
Yes, and whatever regulations are imposed, we will obey. We already conform to everything.
So So that is the guy that Gary Gensler is having meetings with. So look at this. SBF was donating to Ukraine. SBF was meeting with Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler was meeting with Soros. Soros is treated like a visiting head of state in Ukraine. Soros is an expert in offshore financial dealings for the purposes of avoiding the SEC, which FTX did. A New Day Congress, Tom Emmer, anybody? And then this guy says, U.S. regulators are in crypto crackdown mode. Some see hostility nudging crypto offshore as a feature, not a bug. But pushing crypto overseas would be a strategic mistake for the U.S. hard power, tech innovation, and economic dynamism. And he's written a whole blog on this. And I said, this all assumes that the U.S. government is working in the interest of the American people, which I believe is majorly in question at this point. I'm betting at least half are working for China or some globalist agenda that none of us want. That's what I'm betting. Then yesterday, Stuart Alderati tweeted this: from light bulb to lasers and from semiconductors to supercomputers, America has always been a nation of invention, entrepreneurs, and innovation. Anyway, this was the CHIPS Act, and he said, don't forget Subtitle H. Well, in Subtitle H, it says blockchain specialist. Establishment of a blockchain and cryptocurrency specialist position within OSTP. The Director of Office in Science Technology shall establish or designate a blockchain and cryptocurrencies advisory specialist position with the office to coordinate federal activities and advise President. So my question, because I went and looked at it, I went back into the Twitter feed of this is the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, and looked at their website. From what I can gather, they aren't focused on crypto at all. Why have they been completely absent while regulatory agencies try to take crypto apart? This is the woman they appointed to run this agency, and she hasn't weighed in, from what I can tell, on crypto at all. Her job is supposed to be to advise on crypto, and nobody has seen anything out of her. And I'm assuming that's what Stuart Alderati was bringing attention to here. I can't find a comment on crypto, and she leads the agency. All right, and then there's this. This is Warren Davidson, and he's completely right about this. Augustin Carstens from the Bank for International Settlements, which is the central bank of central banks, they want CBDCs for reasons that you and I do not want. They want the control reasons, the same thing China's doing. And Warren Davidson and Tom Emmer are fighting the good fight here so that we never get that in America.
You've been actually dubbed a crypto congressman. And so I can get your take, Representative, on the Bank of International Settlement saying, hey, the battle is over, crypto lost, and that's it.
Well, look, I think your previous guest highlighted it. Is it really a war between crypto and fiat? Not currently, but there are people like Augustin Carstens who are making it that way. And frankly, the Bank of International Settlement, which is the central bank for the central bankers, they're trying to put out a set of standards that normalizes central bank digital currencies, and not just any version of them, the creepy surveillance state kind that China has. And so if we follow this guy's vision for the future of money, I mean, it's pretty dystopian.
I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that it's not the technology itself that's evil. It's the way you would use it that could or could not be evil. And we've got to pay attention to all of this. Thanks for listening.